Hello, I'm Hassan. Last video I talked to principle of UART and how transmit data with UART. But in this video I want to talk about receive and how it was gonna be in receive. Okay, at first go to Hall library. We use Hall underline UART underline receive and receive IT. Okay, this part Hall underline UART underline receive underline IT, and uh, this function I use Hall underline RX CPLT callback. This is interrupt routine of receive IT. We must use interrupt when we use receive and in UART. This is really important. At first, we must use interrupt. After that, everything happening RX CPLT callback. Okay, go through the project I write it. Uh, I use UART2. Open the STM32 CubeMX and I will show you which pins name or role in my code. Go to system and change debug to serial wire, as always I say. After that, go to connectivity and click here in UART2. Okay, open there and change mode to asynchronous. After that, okay, go to parameter setting. Everything in here set. Baud rate, board length, stop bit, and the parity is now. User contact don't have any change. NVIC, this is really important. Take it in here. UART global interrupt. We must use interrupt for receive data in UART. Or in better I say, when we have received data, we must use it interrupt and tick it here. Okay, tick here. DM is nothing and GPIO, everything is alright. Okay, this part is really different. In last video we didn't tick in here, but in this video I tick because we must use interrupt UART. After that, go to project and name it, click this option and click generate code. Okay, after you click generate code, go to the K and okay, in line 24, I add this include stdio.h standard library and yeah, everything is starting here. We add this function to under the mx underline UART2 underline UART underline initialize. Okay, we write this code. And what happened in here? It is function for enable receive IT in UART and myself add it. For last parameter, it means 1. In last parameter, I mean this part. In last parameter, amount of data to be received. And the option for that is 1 or 2. When we have used 1, I use 1 in here. It means 1 bit we read and save to RX data, and 2 means 2-bit we read and save it on RX data. This one or two, as I say, we have two options, one or two. It's related to the string I write is one by one reading and save to RX data, or two by two read my string and saving RX data. Okay. When we have one character and we have one receive IT, and it referred to CPLT callback, and that do something for routine. What happened here? Okay, after we enable receive IT, the program shift to CPLT callback. This call is routine, interrupt routine for receive IT. But in summary, I explained here what happened. Uh, for example, we have hello. We write hello and we want to transmit in my PC to micro, and the micro is transmit this data in my computer, and I see that in uh, Hercules or real time or PLC or so on program we can use. For example, hello function UART receive ITCH is at the first, for example. And we have interrupt, it referred to RX CPLT callback, then CE again, and we have another interrupt. It means when we write in the string in Hercules or real time or PLC, one by one for letter, we have interrupt, and this interrupt in line 129 referred to CPLT callback. And what happened in CPLT callback? Okay, and final I say I add this function under the initialize GPIO and UART2. This is the format I use. After that, go to CPLT callback. Yeah, this is in global. Upper int main void and void hull underline yard underline RX CPLT callback is the function of that. We write if HUART instance 2, it means we use UART 2. If we use UART 2, at first, okay, before I go through this code, go in there, I define the variable rx underline data for receive IT and rx underline index for counting or counter, and rx buffer for saving my string, and transfer underline CPLT is same as a flag. I will show you what happened. Int I is again for counter, and buffer I say, and len it for the size of my string. Okay, in global you must define this variable. Go to Rx callback, CPLT callback. At first I uh, define this condition. If Rx underline index is equal to 0, I define the for in I0 until I100 to 0 transfer to Rx buffer, because in this line, yeah, 129, everything read by Rx data, and after that save to Rx underline buffer. Uh, use this function and I transfer 0 to Rx underline buffer in every place in here. You can see I define Rx buffer 100 bucks and 100 bucks. After that, for example, 0 bucks is 0, 1 bucks, the amount of that is 0 transferred to in it, and the other. Okay, this function until there, it's for transfer 0 to Rx buffer because we want to empty for Rx buffer. And then I define the this condition for end of my string. If Rx data 0 is not equal to 13, if that curve is not suffix fd or 13 or inter, you can see the ASCII table. I will show you ASCII table. It means that decimal is 13, hex is D, and the carrying return. It means inter or 13. I define this part. If Rx underline data is not equal to 13, Rx underline buffer, okay, everything in Rx data 0, for example, we have H is referred to R is transferred to Rx index plus plus and the place is that 0 and for E, for example, in the second one is transferred to 1. We in this here we have a routine interrupt and letter one by one transfer to Rx buffer. Else, if we had this 13 or suffix fd or 13, Rx underline index is equal 0 and transfer underline cplt is 1. This is the flag, as I say, and this part is really important. After we use it interrupt of UART, we must uh, go out or uh, disable this routine and this function for disable or going out to routine UART. Okay, everything is here is okay. I explain that is what's happening here. Go to the while. If transfer underline cplt is 1, this is the flag as I say. I use sprintf buffer and rx buffer. I use it, I write anything in here as you can see, and when we have in here, go to Rx buffer and Rx buffer save to buffer. After that, we read the size of my string in buffer with strlen, and the next whole yard transmit uh, with buffer as the previous video I say. And again, transfer underline cplt is the flag is 0 because we want to repetitive action in here. Okay, everything is correct in here. We have nothing change. This main part is here. Compile this 0 error 0 warming. After that, compile. Okay, next I use Hercules. Okay, go to serial, set COM port 4 from my PC, set baud rate, data bit, parity is known, and the other thing open here. For example, I write hello, how are you? Okay, I send it. Uh, when I send the string, the color is that you can see. This is the color is pink, and after that, I send enter or 013, and the micro is transfer my data. For example, I write this string engineer. Okay, send it and send back to me everything I write here. After that, for example, hello, I'm Ehsan. Send it, and after that, send 0D or 30 or enter, and the micro is transferred to me. Uh, this is my code. Is for it's for receiving data in UART. Thanks for watching me. Please subscribe me.